East Asia's diplomatic landscape has grown increasingly turbulent in recent years. From leadership assassinations to fierce wars with China over maritime boundaries, the region finds itself entangled not only in local tensions but also in broader global conflicts. Among the most active players is Japan, a country grappling with domestic challenges like rapidly aging population and territorial tensions over the Senkaku Islands, yet also playing a prominent role on the world stage. Nowhere is this more evident than in Japan's support for Ukraine and its alignment with the Western powers. In the aftermath of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Japan joined G7 allies in slapping sweeping economic sanctions on Moscow. These included asset freezes on Russian individuals and banks, bans on high-tech exports, and also the suspension of Russia's most favored nation trade status. Tokyo also broke the precedent by accepting the Ukraine refugees, offering non-lethal defense equipment, and also committing to substantial humanitarian and financial assistance. Oil embargo was also imposed. The war prompted Tokyo to boost its defense budget, deepening the security ties with Washington and also reframe the conflict as a wake-up call for regional stability in Asia. Moreover, Japan also began to diversify its energy sources, reducing the dependency on Russian LNG by turning to suppliers in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. But despite this outward alignment with NATO, a new development now also suggests that Japan may be subtly recalibrating. On 9th of June, Bloomberg reported that Japanese oil refiner Taiyo Oil Corporation received 600,000 barrels of Russian Sakhalin blend crude, delivered aboard a tanker listed under US and EU sanctions. The Voyager, sanctioned by both US Treasury and the European Union, departed Russia's port terminal on 25th of May and arrived at Japan's Kikuma port 2 weeks later. While the delivery appears controversial, it is still technically legal under Japan's National Energy Security Exemption, an allowance that specifically applies to Sakhalin blend crude and was recently extended through June 2026 as a part of EU's 17th sanction package. The US exemption, renewed periodically, currently runs till 28th of June. Taiyo Oil confirmed that the crude was purchased at the request of Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, citing the LNG output linked to Japan's stake in Sakhalin-2 will suffer without this crude. Now, if you remember, prior to the Ukraine war, Japanese refiners were importing around 4 cargoes per month from Sakhalin, while the stakes in the project held by Mitsui and Corporation and Mitsubishi Corporation were retained even after Russia restructured ownership in 2022. Actual imports had largely halted until now. Also coinciding with the resumed oil flow was a high-profile Kremlin meeting that captured attention both in Moscow and Tokyo. On 29th of May, Russian President Vladimir Putin welcomed Aki Abe, the widow of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, at the Kremlin. During their meeting, Putin praised Abe's efforts to build ties with Russia and also presented Aki with flowers, even offering her personal limousine for her theater visit in Moscow. Putin's comments were heartfelt, noting that Abe had pursued peace between the two nations and had made significant progress in that direction. The imagery, Aki Abe in tears during the meeting, aired on Russian state television, appeared to many as a charm offensive aimed at rekindling relations with Japan amid the growing isolation. Putin even referenced to Abe's father, former Foreign Minister Shintaro Abe, acknowledging the Abe family's long-standing engagement with Russia. So while Japan still officially remains aligned with NATO and G7 policy, these developments suggest a more nuanced strategy. The Sakhalin oil exemption, Tokyo's ongoing stake in Russian energy projects, and symbolic gestures from Kremlin hint that Japan may be carving space for quiet diplomacy, possibly hedging against over-reliance on Western powers. This dual-track approach may frustrate Washington and Brussels, especially at a time when both accept cohesion on sanctions and strategy. But in the complex geopolitical chessboard, Japan is signaling that its national interest, especially energy security, still matters just as much as its alliances.